Welcome to the Pinnacle Awards podcast. We are your hosts.
I'm Christopher Dawkins.
And I am Fern Cardi Dawkins. And in celebration of 25 years of excellence in Black business, we are so excited to bring you this Pinnacle podcast where we will be talking with past Pinnacle Award winners who have gone on to have great success in their business and in the community. The both of us are members of the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce and entrepreneurs as well. Christopher, tell us about your business.
Generally speaking, we do real estate development. Our client-facing business is on the commercial side of things. And then in-house, we do some residential development.
Sorry.
Celu Grand Dawkins Enterprises.
And my business is JM Cardi Holdings, LLC, and we are a local Smoothie King multi-unit franchisee. All right, we have with us today
Larry Brooks.
And he is he has a very successful real estate practice here in Houston. Larry, real estate is a very competitive industry, especially in a city like Houston. So it's very interesting to have this conversation with you, especially with Christopher here. I should let you have led this. Real estate's not my wheelhouse. But talk to us about that. Like in a big city like Houston where real estate is so robust and so competitive and, the market is ever changing and dealing with different market shifts and so forth, how have you had the staying power?
I'm a praying man. I've had a praying grandmother.
That's important.
That's the biggest part of it, right?
Seriously.
But then I have a great co-partner. My business partner is Michael G. Davis, and over the last 11 years that we've been together, we've really taken this residential real estate thing by storm.
Okay.
We have 40 agents now, and we are actually the largest African-American owned real estate brokerage firm in Texas.
Oh, wow.
And so over the years, we've just cultivated. When the market went bad, we went from doing a lot of sales to leases, and we just continue to change our business with the systems that we're allowed to take care of.
Adaptability is important.
Adaptability, yes.
So you're saying you started your business 11 years ago.
Yes.
So how did you and David start the business? How did it come about?
I've been in real estate 18 years. And
Okay.
so me and Mr. Davis met at a title company event. Back in the days, they used to do tons of events for us. And so we
the good old days, right?
Good old days, right?
Cruises, everything.
That's against the rules now.
It is against the rules now.
Doesn't have any
But back in the days, they took great care of us.
These days, you barely get a pin, right?
Oh, yeah. You did not get that pin. You better give it back.
Right.
And so... But he and I had a long conversation, and so when the market busted out, I had my own office space. I was getting ready to start my own brokerage firm, actually, and Michael's in his own space. He had a team, and our office buildings weren't too far apart. Michael and I, his lease was up, and I had this space. The market just busted out, and so I said, hey, come share the space with me. Let's share these bills for a year. We did that at the end of 2008. He loved the way I do business. I love the way that he did business, and we decided to partner up, and 11 years later, we're Brooks and Davis, still going strong.
That's awesome. Yeah. I want to say one thing quickly about partnership. I tell people all the time that is something that is so overlooked. In our community, I think everyone wants to make a name for themselves, and I understand why that's important. Historically, we maybe didn't have the opportunity to do that as often, and so you want to go out on your own. But there's such strength in numbers, and to recognize in someone who could be a business partner who has a skill set that's a value add to your business, is critical because you can go further, together. They say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go further, go together. And I think that's so great to have an example of that in our community, a partnership that's worked so well for so long. So congratulations on that, too.
Thank you so much. And I echo those sentiments because people really don't know. There's certain things about this real estate industry. If I didn't have Davis, I probably wouldn't be on this side of it any longer. Because you're managing agents and this brokerage firm. I'd be right on the investment side only if I didn't have my business partner.
Fern and I talk about this regularly.
All the time. Yeah. And so, go ahead.
No, please.
Oh, what year? You said it was around 2010 or so when you got your Pinnacle Award?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so, looking back, is there anything that, when you got your award and sort of, nearly 10 years has gone by since then. Mm-hmm. When you look back, is there anything you'd have done differently in your business?
I think that even at the time that we were receiving the Pinnacle Award, we were just open to wanting more assistance and help and just knowledge. I think that what I would have done is I would have reached out to some of the larger real estate brokerage firms of, I would say African-American brokerage firms like George Johnson.
Right.
I would have personally reached out to him. I would have personally reached out to Gerald Womack. I would have personally reached out to Ed Riley. These are the guys that were the foundation of the real estate community that I know of.
Right.
And I think at the time we were just trying to create our own lane and we didn't reach out out to these guys that have been so successful. They started in the 70s and they're still here.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that at that time I would have reached out to them immediately and grabbed their hands and say, please help, or what can I do different?
So you feel like you missed out on some of the knowledge. You had to have a few bumps on the head that you didn't necessarily have to have. Okay.
Now I have relationships with those guys, but it's like it came through me feeling like I had to prove myself in order to get in, you know.
So maybe it went from feeling like competition at first.
Yeah. Because you know these guys are the industry standard, and you're like, okay, well, let me get in here and let me show that I can be a part of this circle.
Right.
And I would, instead of doing it that way, I would have reached out for mentorship and got invited into the circle that way, other than making my own footprint. So
elbowing your way in.
That's an important footnote for the community, and I don't mean to be the footnoter on this on today's cast, but I think that oftentimes we get stereotyped as being like crabs in the bucket when we're trying to make it, and no one wants to help you. And I think sometimes you even falsely think that in your own head, that maybe I won't get this help, or like you said, I have to prove myself first before I go begging for mentorship. Maybe I need to show them my portfolio of sales or properties or whatever the case may be, so they'll take me seriously. And then you're siloed, and you struggle through things that maybe you didn't have to. And so it's really important that we look for those relationships side to side and front to back, to pulling each other up. What value did you see in the Pinnacle Award itself, and how did that having that platform, did that shape your business in any way? Or talk to us about how being an award recipient influenced your business.
So that was big for us because we were just coming out of that storm. And so we, I can't remember exactly which storm it was, but we had lost our office space and everything. So we lost laptops and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then when we won the Pinnacle Award, they gave us stipends when it came to laptops. They gave us more, an individual that helped us redo our marketing and rebranding.
Nice.
And so for us, it really came at the perfect time to allow our business to not just sit stagnant and us try to figure it out, but gave us something to keep us pushing. So as we won, and then it gave us relationships as well.
Yeah.
Because you join something of a fraternity or sorority when you win these awards. Because now you're a part, 25 years later. So I came in at the 10-year or 12-year, 15-year mark of it. And so you have these relationships of people that have won it, and now you're seeing each other socially.
Right.
And you have that mentorship or that assistance just because, it's a fraternity type thing. I reach out to you, you help me out.
And I think it's a great point that you made, or a great something that you said when you were like, kind of at your worst when you won the Pinnacle, but the Pinnacle helped turn it around. And I think that's to say that, you can be doing well in business, but maybe all the numbers still don't look right. But if you're still out there doing what you need to do on a daily basis, striving one foot in front of the other, you're really as great a business owner as the next guy.
Yes,
You're just in the learning and growth phase.
Yes, sir.
So cheers to you for, being vulnerable and sharing that with us, because I think so many people see a Pinnacle Award winner getting that award and they're like, oh, everything must be together. When in actuality, that's just not always the case. But in that not being the case, it's still completely okay. So, of course, as we approach, 25 years of the Greater Houston Black Chamber, doing the Pinnacle Award, we're focusing on the importance of Black business and entrepreneurship. Talk to us about why you feel like, if you do, that's important, and how you feel like you fit into it.
It's everything about what we like. For us, for example, again, we're one of the largest African American owned brokerage firms, and it's not that we haven't wanted to be inside of other markets, but our people do so we do well within our own circle, so we don't have to branch out if we don't need to. Right? We have enough consumers or the highest dollar amount that we could stay within our own business and doing business with other African American loan officers, other African American business owners that allow us to still be prosperous and grow in this industry. So it's needed, things like the chamber and the knowledge that they give us of the relationships, because you can go to the database of the chamber and you can find people in different industries that are being successful that you can partner up with and do different things with. So for us, that circle of influences, that's where our community, where our village.
Right. Yeah.
So for businesses that are pressing reset, restructuring, pivoting, what's the best piece of advice that you can give them, having been there and made it out successfully?
Be teachable and coachable. Right. And when I say that, is when people offer you advice, it may be an opportunity to take it because they're offering it probably from a good place, right? And so be teachable and coachable, because we've always been teachable and coachable, because when we made it to the mountaintop, we still got coaches or different people that had been in our industry that had done a few things that we hadn't successfully done. Right. So regardless of where you are in your business, always be teachable and coachable.
Yeah. Houston, I hope you're listening, and I hope you understand through this podcast why it's so important that we celebrate champions in our own community. And that's exactly what the Pinnacle Awards is about. And it's exactly what the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce seeks to do with this event. And so if you're interested in attending, please, you can get your tickets at www.ghbcc.com. The Pinnacle Awards this year is going to be on October the 19th. Will you be there, Larry?
I will be there.
We still have some more time, though. Are you about to close? Can we talk a little bit more?
Oh, of course. That was just a quick plug. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
No, we love it. So you've been in business for a while. You've made it through tough times. You've moved on. How do you distinguish yourself from other real estate firms when the market is kind of so flooded and littered?
You know what? I don't think I don't look at it as being flooded and littered because most of the people aren't doing the business. Only 20% of us are daily getting in this thing, getting our knees dirty, getting dirt up on our fingernails, doing the business. So
Right.
it could be tons of licensees, but they're not getting out there doing it. And plus, I'm a big fan of social media. It's now the new radio station, the new TV
So
station.
true.
You can stay in front lines that way. So
That's so
me,
true.
I get on. I have designated times when I'm feeding into social media so that people will continue to see myself and Brooks and Davis out in front.
Kim Roxy with Lamique was just in, and we asked her that old question of what would you tell your younger self, and she kind of flipped it on its head, and she's like, you know what? She's like, my younger self is who speaks to me now.
Yeah.
So as opposed to asking that passe question, I'm going to ask you, what is your younger self saying to you these days?
Man, that's a good one.
Thank you, Kim.
Kim.
I was just gonna put it out there and make it like it was mine, but I thought I'd give her some credit.
That is a good one. Oh wow. My younger self, I just keep living. Like I love to travel, so I keep doing these things that I always discussed doing when I was a kid, which is travel and being a philanthropist. And I probably said that word wrong, so don't hold it against me.
It's fine. We know what you're talking
We're
about.
all family here.
Yeah, and just being able to give back. So my younger me, and then I have a 13-year-old, so that is my younger me as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
13, giving you hell.
Yeah, that my younger self would say, keep going. I always know that it's not about you, but it's about the legacy.
Yeah.
Because I was a generation curse breaker. So for me, I changed the way that my family lived, the way that my family looked when I was a child growing up. And so
that's amazing.
It's big. It's big
That's
to
huge.
just continue to leave and grow that legacy.
Part of that that thought process of breaking generational
Curses.
stalemates, curses, or whatever in families, in businesses, and sort of our perception of who we are as African Americans. Buying black is a big thing right now. Like you see Buy Black T-shirts. The GHBC had the Buy Black initiative. There's the Buy Black directory, and people are really big on like, how do I find black doctor, realtor, makeup artist, whomever, and we really want to do business with each other. Would you say that much of your success has come from clients that look like yourself? And what is the value that you see in doing business with people that look like you?
I do. I would say we've closed well over 1,500 deals in my career, and most of them they look like me.
Yeah.
And I think that because we can understand where we come from when we're even doing business, so I'm not the one that's going to be like, give me a hookup. I already know what they look like. I'm a realtor. People are always trying to ask for my money. No. So I think that when we're doing business,
I am not splitting a commission.
Right? So it's funny because I posted a memo about that earlier this week. But I think that it's important that we do business together simply because we kind of understand the flow of things. We understand how our business and our dollars work for us. And we put our dollars back into our communities, right? Regardless if it's just us funding an elementary school or a middle school in a low-income area or whatever. Even if we're not living there, our dollars are still going back into that. And others' dollars are not going back there. It's going to their communities, and that's it. And most of the time, if they own something in our community, they're taking it and they're taking it back to their communities. They're not putting it in ours. I still own the home that I was raised in by my grandmother, and that
What
community
part of
is my Southeast, Southport,
Nice.
right off of MLK.
Which is changing a lot. Good you held on to that. The real estate is doing some things over there.
Yeah, so I still have friends that like have little local businesses, and again, I continue to go out that way and do whatever it is that I can, but my dollars go back into that type of community.
Yeah, that's so important. That's where our true power lies. If we really were to harness where we spend our dollars, because we're spending most of the dollars.
That's right.
Across demographics, that's reinvesting in the community. That's a really good point to point out.
We appreciate your coming out today, Larry. Some of the things you've shared with us, everything you shared with us has been amazing.
Thank
It
you.
added value for us. So I'm
Yeah.
sure it did a lot for the listeners out there. Is there anything that you'd like to leave us with or that you'd like to say to the nominees this year?
The one thing that I would say, guys, is the most important thing about the reward is going to be relationship currency. And so I picked that up from a good friend of mine, but she always says relationship currency, and really it's just going to be as you meet with people and you continue to socialize. That's one thing that you can't, cash in. I mean, you can cash in sometimes, but it's just about relationships. So I always have those relationship currencies.
That's
For
awesome.
sure.
And so to build those relationships, you'll want to get you a ticket to come to this year's Pinnacle Awards. It's going to be on October the 19th at the Marriott Marquis. Tickets are available at www.ghbcc.com. Come out with us, celebrate the champions in our community, network, and meet those who are truly invested in our communities here in Houston. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.